Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third and final day of the Summit 2021 Annual Conference, Growing MedTech Post-Pandemic, Using Adaptability, Resilience, and Sustainability. We welcome everyone back. For those of you that have joined us for the last 2 days, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us, and we hope that you stay engaged and join us for the final sessions of our conference. We look forward to your engagement. We ask you that you participate. Feel free to put your questions into the chat box, and we will get to them once we have gone through the speaker. I'm Tracy Mansami. I'm the chair of the Summit Transformation Committee, and I'll be facilitating the session on partnering with small businesses to unlock South Africa's local manufacturing capabilities. We look forward to the session, and we request that our delegates make use of the chat or the Q&A facilities to ask any questions of the speaker. Transformation is an economic imperative, and localization holds significant potential to further broad-based economic empowerment. In this session, we will investigate the potentials for driving transformation through partnerships with local manufacturing and furthering local sustainability mandates. We will also identify where and what opportunities lie for us. Here to frame the transformation partnerships with local manufacturing is the Medical Device Manufacturers of South Africa, MDMSA's chairperson, Mrs. Simone Rudolph-Shortt. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Simone, although I think most of us have seen and heard Simone. Simone heads up the ISO Health SA consultancy from many years of experience in the regulatory quality assurance, laboratory testing, production of medicines, medical devices, toiletries, foods. Simone really has a wealth of information, has been a solid and steady source in the medical devices world. Simone's a qualified industrial pharmacist, and like I said, really experienced in production and laboratory management, including quality assurance, regulatory affairs, and providing professional consultancy and regulatory service provider. So I'm sure Simone is a familiar face and voice, and we'd like to welcome Simone, and we will look forward to hearing how medical devices and medtech companies can unlock South Africa's transformation through localization of medtech manufacturer. So without any further ado, I hand you over to Simone. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to put into the chat box or use the Q&A function. Over to you, Simone.
Morning, everybody. Caroline, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Simone. Your presentation is just not in presentation mode.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tracy, for that warm welcome. And thank you to SAMED for inviting me to present today. Just so that everybody knows that Tracy Mansami is also the Vice Chair for MDMSA. And MDMSA operates through a management committee. We call ourselves the MMC, and the whole team has been very supportive and productive in the last 5 months. So my presentation today is about partnering with small business to unlock South Africa's local manufacturing capabilities. And just a small introduction to MDMSA. We are an association. We're an association of local manufacturers, but we've also inviting service companies and entrepreneurs and other consultancies to actually join MDMSA, because we see ourselves as the navigator through the whole value chain of manufacturing or production. So our goal is to provide the industry with a unified and respected voice to champion the production of safe and effective locally manufactured medical devices. Local manufacturing is dominated by SMMEs, with firms having between 4 and 100 employees. Employees cover a large cross-section of the South African population, from highly skilled and experienced management through to comparatively low-skilled production workers. And I think this is important for us to remember, that we do have skilled and experienced people within the South African community. Local medical device industry has an economic and social impact far beyond the revenue it generates, and that is where transformation comes in. By improving the health and well-being of patients, carers, and families, the medical device and technology sector is constantly innovating to improve patient outcomes and contribute to the advancement of healthcare as a whole. And this is a significant initiative within our government's master plans for our sector. The manufacturing capabilities direction, and Tracy's already spoken to this, to reiterate, transformation is imperative, and it holds significant potential for furthering broad-based Black economic empowerment. And as the potential for driving transformation can be through partnerships with local manufacturers, and also relationships with local manufacturers and importing distributors. And I think that's something that we can actually develop further, is having that relationship between the importing companies and local manufacturing to increase local content. MDMSA is a member of Proudly SA, and I was on one of these sessions last week, and their mandate is to increase the power of an economy through driving economic growth and satisfying more human needs within the same resources, and also to further local sustainability mandates and identify opportunities by increasing skills and capability, creating jobs, and stimulating the health economic growth. And this really aligns to what MDMSA's objectives are. And yes, it does talk to preferential procurement, but it also talks to consumer education in both the public and private sector. And this is one of the initiatives of MDMSA as well. Also, obviously, to promote the accessibility of locally manufactured products and services. The actions that we are looking to as MDMSA is 1, stakeholder engagement, 2, to identify opportunities, and 3 is to make our resources work. And this is to improve conversion rates and productivity, is through the whole value chain, from R&D to manufacturing, and then also to increase demand and sales at the end. So if we look at stakeholder engagement, we are presently engaging with a number of stakeholders, from the Medical Device Diagnostic Innovation Cluster called MEDIC, and Michelle Mulder will be talking to us at 11 o'clock. So please, I hope you're going to join that session. We're also talking with CEDA, the Small Enterprise Development Agency. We're very connected to the DTI. We've had sessions with the Gauteng, OR Tambo Special Economic Zones Initiative, DSI, and then we obviously have a very close association with SAMED and SALDA. At 11 o'clock, I'm not going to talk too much about this, about MEDIC, but it is the initiative to exploit or to actually develop skills, expertise, and infrastructure with the goal to increase competitiveness of local medical device manufacturing. So it aligns directly with MDMSA's objectives. She'll talk further. It'll be Michelle Mulder about how they're going to address the trade imbalance and increase local content, and to bring together all the required expertise and capabilities to the manufacture of medical devices. Their aim is to deliver a registered product ready for manufacture. That is commercialization of innovation. So we're all waiting. We heard from SAHPRA yesterday about the registration process coming along, and we need to all start gearing ourselves towards this phase of regulation within South Africa. This slide will be talked to in a lot more detail later on, but MEDEC is about product development and localization, improving the ecosystem of development and support, and then, again, networking, coordination, and alignment. And as you can see, there are several role stakeholders in this initiative, including GEA, the PATH, the SAMRC, TIA and DSI, as well as SAMED, the IDC, and all, including SAHPRA. Objectives is about an integrated and cohesive ecosystem, localization and rapid product development, and I will talk to innovation in a few minutes, and also human capital development. And many of you would have seen that we've already, as MDMSA, we've started doing skills training in parts of what our obligations are as manufacturers. Just to give you some background on CEDA, the Small Enterprise Development Agency, they say here that they do not provide, they provide non-financial support to small enterprises and cooperatives. However, when they're saying that they are not giving, they don't do loans. However, they do give assistance for aspects like improving your capacity and capability within your manufacturing operations. They do support things like marketing material and so forth. An interesting initiative is the Gauteng Industrial Development Zone Company, where they're going to develop and operate a designated industrial development zone called the IDZ at OR Tambo International Airport, which, as we all know, is the largest and busiest international airport in Johannesburg. And if you need to find out more about this initiative as a special economic zone, please go onto Dr. Google and look up Gauteng Industrial Development Zone Company. Just a bit more about it. So IDZ has access to a suite of incentives packaged by the national government to promote foreign investment in the SEZ. It will provide provincial and local governments incentives in the process of being, which is in the process of being packaged with examples like foreign investment grants, duty-free imports, and tax deductions, and the provision of working capital loans through a metals financial scheme. And if there is the link, the HTTP link, www.gidz.co.za. If we look at our second action, is to identify opportunities. And this is to ensure that we identify key issues and opportunities, develop and propose practical solutions that protect the balance between patient benefits, safety, ethics, technological innovation, and market health in a global market. So MDMSA, we do provide SME support. We are also developing the Triangulus MedTech digital platform with artificial intelligence under development, and we are significantly involved in exhibitions and conferences that I want to share with you. We have over 2,500 medical device stakeholders, of which 2,000 are local manufacturers who employ less than 250 staff in its organization. Now, this is an aggregate data. This SME is dominated, this SME dominated sector of industry represents a turnover of more than 17 billion rand. Small and medium-sized enterprises are businesses that maintain revenues, assets, or a number of employees below a certain threshold. And the threshold is generally below 15 million rand. The potential opportunities, yes, we are looking at government protection of local manufacturers. We've seen for some of the tenders where there's been affirmation of whether there's a local product or not. So there is enforcement of product designation and preferential procurement. We also have the National Industrial Participation Program. It's called NIP, and this program seeks to leverage economic benefits and support the development of South African industry by effectively utilizing the instruments of government procurement. And we are in discussions on the NIP program with the DTI at this moment in time. Just to give you a bit of history, and yeah, I'm not want to give my age away, but Tracy talked about my production experience. And I just wanted to give you a short snippet about where we were and where we are now. So in 1985, I started as a production pharmacist making Panado at a company called Sterling Winthrop. That factory in South Coast Road in eThekwini closed in 1996. And that was because Sterling was acquired by Eastman Kodak before 1994, and they disinvested from South Africa. Then I went to 1992 to Smith & Nephew, and Smith & Nephew has changed dramatically from 1992. There was the Smith & Nephew family, which was Thomas James Smith, who opened a small pharmacy in Hull. It was started with cod liver oil. And he then, when he died, he left his business to Horatio Nelson Smith, and that's where Smith & Nephew came from. In the 1980s, there was also pharmacist Barsdorf in Germany. And for many years, Smith & Nephew manufactured products for Barsdorf. We had a Nivea factory here in Pinetown. And then there was a breakup. It all broke up into 4 companies in 1999. And now we have the modern Smith & Nephew now. We've got BSN Medical now becoming Essity in Pinetown. And now we have a new growth in production. But unfortunately, the textile mill closed in 1999, and almost 1,000 people lost their jobs over that period. I also want to talk about Johnson & Johnson, because Smith & Nephew used to make Johnson & Johnson products as well. We made Band-Aid for a while, and they still have factories here within South Africa. A significant investment in both manufacturing plants in South Africa and East London and Cape Town to ensure adequate capacity to meet the sub-Saharan Africa. That was between 2014 and 2016. And then to end, we have this abundance of production that happened with COVID-19. We've got many people developing masks and doing mask manufacturing. I was privileged to be part of the National Ventilator Project. We have Save P, which was one of the approved products. There's a CSIR product as well, CSIR ventilator. We also had an abundance of skin and surface disinfectant manufacturers coming on board. However, there are new innovations happening, which I will show you in a short minute. Software applications, electromedical devices, and biomedical materials. So medical device production, the local firms tend to be small or medium with less than 50 employees, often combine distribution activities with manufacturing. So many of us support the business with imported products as well. Multinational companies present in South Africa often operate in a joint venture capacity with local manufacturers, and this is something we need to develop. Most South African manufacturers specialize on producing basic medical equipment and supplies, and the output by the domestic medical manufacturing industry is estimated to be in the region of $200 to $300 million. I talked about the Triangulus digital platform. We call it the triple helix principle, a fine balance between the three critical parties of government, academia, and industry. From the pandemic learnings, we realized that through the value chain, we've got R&D to design, to getting regulatory approval, ramping up manufacturing, and then increased demand and usage. And the areas of insight that I'm going to cover now is about the development phase, the innovation phase, and networking. So in the R&D phase, as I've mentioned, we did see self-funded projects and products, like the ventilator project, although some of it was funded by the National Ventilator Project. Many people did pro bono work during those development phases. We had rapid prototyping, crowdsourcing of regulatory support. In other words, everybody joined together to provide the regulatory support. We had pragmatism, where food grade materials were approved because we didn't have access to medical grade. And we also had the transfer of international regulatory requirements, like we did for the ventilator project. We had the WHO specification to follow. The innovation, National Ventilator Project took old technologies and redeveloped it. The role of CSIR for solution conversions came into play. We had the Agile Solutions Group, the Solidarity Fund for offtake and rollout coordination of supply side potential, and we had interest by many funders as well. If we look at the SA legacy of health technology, and here I have a short list, I'm not going to go into them in detail, but in 1967, we had the first heart transplant. We had in 1979 a Nobel Prize winner for a CAT scanner by Cape Town physicist Alan Cormack. We have the LODOX X-ray system developing low irradiation dose X-rays. And then we have Cape Ray launched a new digital mammograph system in 2010. We have the Celia Percy Amoils, a specialist in retinal disease, who created the new method of cataract surgery. And we have the Smart Lock safety syringes developed by the Anglo-American to provide improved protection against needle stick injury. So South Africa is a hub for innovation. And then networking, collaboration, and assistance. Adoption of social media and for team interaction with the national event, with the Save Pete project. On the 25th of March, before the lockdown of the 26th of March, that Saturday morning, we set up a WhatsApp group that ended up with almost 40 people through a 9-month phase. We also had interdisciplinary groups like Business South Africa, the DTI. We had the cooperation of the old and new hands. We had many people coming out of retirement to come and assist with the innovations. And there was an openness to share information and networking. The Save Pete project, with our technical documentation, we shared that with many, many people. So this is Triangulus platform, which is basically a workflow to enable and access service providers and suppliers through the value chain of production, from R&D to gearing up in manufacturing to actual manufacture, and also with regulatory requirements as well. So then if I look at exhibitions, the third action, we have next week, we have the Africa Health. MDMSA has got the procurement conference on the 27th of October, and I hope you will all find time to attend. We have various panel discussions, and we have some recorded presentations as well as the lineup. What I wanted to share with you was Dubai 2020, and this is where I'm now going to share a different screen. It's my second screen. Caroline, can you see that?
I can see something that says Dubai 2020.
Are you seeing the video of?
No.
Okay. Okay, let me just, hang on, I've got to get myself, I don't know where I am now. Can you see that, Google?
We can see your browser, yes.
So I would like to invite you all to go onto this website for Dubai 2020. It's a 6-month, it's like a Olympiad exhibition. South Africa has got a stand, well, in fact, it's more than a stand. I'm going to show it to you in just now. And the program is 274 pages long, and it's just on for 6 months. So when you've got time, you might want to go on and go and have a look. I'd also like to share with you, can you see the stand for MDMSA, Caroline?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Simone.
So this is our virtual stand, MDMSA. And there are various aspects that you can look at. There's brochures in the booth. We've got other people that have also got stands like Gabler and Lodox, and even Proudly SA and Investment SA. And here, even through this portal, we have a video of MDMSA, which I will show that to you later. So there's exciting things happening, and it's all virtual, which is very exciting to see. Can you see my presentation again, Caroline?
I can, yes, thanks, Simone.
Thank you. Just to give you insight as to, sorry, it's called the pavilion. Just to give you a look-see, this is the pavilion, the welcome wall. And then we have an, excuse me, an innovation platform happening on the last week in March. And I'm just going to share quickly with you the video. Can you see the video? Carolyn, can you see the video?
Yes, we can. Sorry, Simone, the sound quality is not very good.
Oh, okay. Can you see the slide again, Caroline?
I can, thank you.
Okay, so at this week, we have already got 8 teams or 8 innovators that are going to be presenting through a virtual platform, that pavilion that you've seen. There are 7 screens. Some of the attendees are, some of the innovators are going to attend that pavilion, and it's called Innovation South Africa. And we've got various videos that are going to be played. And this has been developed by the DTI Brand SA together with MDMSA. And then the last item, and I'm almost finished, is the resource actions, factors of production, which are the resources people use to produce goods and services. They're the building blocks of the economy. Economists often divide the factors of production into 4 categories, being land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And this is where MDMSA is providing skills development, where we have run a risk management and a clinical evaluation training for an overseas company run by Richard Tully, and we're going to be doing further training initiatives as well. Just if we look quickly at current market strengths and weaknesses, our strength is in innovation. We have got strategic stakeholders that are all part of the support system. We've got a large population, a strong private healthcare sector. We also the use of artificial intelligence in networking and partnership engagement. And also the quality of South Africa's transport infrastructure is said to be very strong. But we have some weaknesses, which is 95% imports, the cost of international and local certification requirements. We do have a lack of regulatory oversight, but that is developing, as we heard yesterday. We have often lack of support and confidence in local manufactured goods, which we need to change. And we also, what we heard, I think it was on day 1, a chronic shortage of medical personnel. So the potential drivers to influence medical device procurement decisions, there's many others as well, but we obviously a driver would be to improve quality of life and reduce hospital stay. This is where innovative products and the new artificial intelligence products through software is coming into play. We also could look at group purchasing strategies. We need to also be cognitive of supplier service performance history and work on our delivery systems of service. And also product clinical benefits are very important. And I know it's now 9:33. I don't know if I've got time to show a short MDMSA video. Caroline, how are we on time?
Tracy, go ahead.
But we do have a few questions, but I think that if it's a short video, we could see it.
I can stop it if it's 4 minutes long. Do we have 4 minutes?
There are several questions we need to get through. So look, I think show the video as much as you think would add value.
We'll show it at the end of the Q&A if we've got time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simone. And yeah, it was even having my interaction with MDMSA, your presentation has been really eye-opening, and I think just especially around the South African manufacturing has been really insightful. You raised a few valid points, you know, that skills exist and there's a strong innovation drive, which is, I think, as South African and the South African medical devices contributors, we should be proud of that. And I think what's come out key in your presentation is that collaboration is actually the key here. How we take these tools and the vast experience that we have and actually work together to grow localization, transformation, and industrialization. So we have several questions and maybe some points of clarification. So I'm going to go through them. If any of the speakers would like to clarify, Caroline, I think we're okay if they unmute and can provide some feedback, but I'll just get started from Rob, who makes a valid point around that actions to increase local content require a strong government support. And historically, we had a robust consumables manufacturing base covering products such as syringes, needles, gloves, basic diagnostics, and the old 1% preference system was the backbone of the support. So, Rob, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and whether you want to pose a question on this or you want Simone's comment on it.
I absolutely agree with what he said.
Okay. I think Rob also makes a comment around that the GIDZ must be driven hard. So I think, again, just highlighting for us what he believes is of significance. Rob, if you want to just engage with Simone quickly.
Thank you very much. I just, Simone, you probably, you say you don't want to date yourself, likewise, but, I also come from a background of local manufacture, and I think, things like syringes, needles, sutures, bandages, even some of the fairly high-tech diagnostic equipment, monitoring devices, etc. We had a robust manufacturing sector, and those of my ilk will remember that. That was basically destroyed when the WTO agreement came into place. We had to normalize our tariffs, because the only way, in terms of the economies of scale, the only way that local manufacture will survive in this country is with tariff protection and incentives from government. And this needs to be driven very hard. And I know the government are looking at another health master plan. It's been a bit of a talk shop for a long time, but I think it's time that we as industry really started pushing hard and getting government to commit to hard inputs that will protect local manufacture. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for that support. And that's exactly why it was put into the presentation. So you're 100% correct. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Sorry, we just move on to a comment, I think, from Howie to update the SMME definition to align with the 2019 Gazette. So, Simone?
Harvey, please, can you please email me?
All right, and then thank you, Howie. And then we could maybe move to Madeleine, who makes a very important comment. I think that, a comment and a question asking, what do we need to do to be competitive when comparing to labor costs versus China, India, Brazil? And is this the barrier to local development?
Okay, we need to be creative in this regards. And yes, the cost of labor is an issue, we all know that. And this is where we can look at other aspects, like exactly what Rob was saying, tariff code protection and that sort of thing. Barrier to local development, if you've got a hurdle, you need to find ways to get over that hurdle or around that hurdle, or just take the hurdle away. So these are things that are obviously being considered in the master plan. Thank you, Madeleine. And Tanya's completely correct about Dubai not 202, it's Dubai 2020. And just to reiterate that it's Dubai 2020 because it was supposed to happen last year, and because of COVID, it was postponed. And it happens every 5 years. So it's like the Olympiad of exhibitions. And yes, SAMED has been recently called in, but I was just showing what MDMSA and the local manufacturers are doing to obviously grow the local manufacturing message. Thank you, Tanya. Tracy?
Thank you. And I think we have one more comment. Are there any initiatives that MDMSA is pursuing with the other provinces? Other than Gauteng, in terms of your industrial development zone?
Yes, and thank you for that question. We are, as we know, we've got Westgrow, who is and part of that is the medical devices Western Cape cluster, which is actually chaired by Lindsay Curran, who's on the MDMSA management committee, and we are busy putting a mutual arrangement together. So yes, there is West Growing Cape Town, and we are, and as Tracy knows, we also have the KZN Trade and Industry as well, which we are talking to as well. So there are initiatives that we are following. We do know we've got the King Shaka zone as well. We did have a condom manufacturer there. I believe there are other manufacturers coming into play in that zone as well. Thank you. Do you want to add anything, Tracy?
I just want to, I think all participants can see the chat, but I think, Howie, your response to Madeline, exactly, the competitiveness of productivity is essential, and it's multifaceted. So it involves labor, but it also involves our ability to innovate and stay lean in the continuous improvement space. So Tanya's got a comment to you, Simone, if you could expand on the MDIVD regulatory skills initiative at Stellenbosch University. And
okay.
I think
thank you, Tanya, for that.
Then we'll take the video.
Thank you, Tanya, for that question. I think you're trying, maybe putting me on a spot here. I have been working, I know the Stellenbosch University has been working on a program for the past year. There have been some complications and time delays. So yes, there is an initiative to run programs, but not only at Stellenbosch University, there are other universities already doing programs. So that it's not, so there are skills, there are regulatory workshops or short courses. Sorry, it's a short course that are being developed, and COVID was part of the delay, and we're hoping to bring that back on track in 2022. So thank you, Tanya, for reminding me to mention the skills initiatives at the universities. I hope I've answered your question, Tanya.
Well, yeah, and I think just to add Tanya's final comment, I absolutely agreed. If we increase the skills in development, we can definitely build local capacity. So 100% agreed. So yeah, it is time to it's time to conclude our session today. We want to thank everyone for attending. I'm not sure, Simone, if you have a. Would you like, I don't know if we have 4 minutes to play your video. Do you want to play a shortened version of your video?
Well, I don't know how to cut the video. Like
maybe
I see there's a
Simone,
yeah.
Perhaps you can send me the video and I'll be happy to play it during the break.
Perfect.
It's on the presentation that I sent you. If you just click on the video on the last screen, Caroline.
Okay. All right. So if they aren't further questions, we want to first of all thank you, Simone. It's really been interesting and a very thought-provoking session with you. If there's no further questions, we will ask our attendees to take a moment to complete the session poll. And while you do that, we want to just reflect on the insights that Simone has shared today. We appreciate your time. And thank you to all our delegates, our special guests, and our session sponsor, the Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency. And with that, we will close out with a message from our sponsor. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.